Bruno, I guess how would you sum up last year? Kind of a bit of a frustrating follow-up to your season, right? I guess how would you describe last year?
Como você descreve o último ano, um pouco de frustração ali na sua última luta?
Bom, meu último ano eu fiz 2 lutas, né? Ganhei uma e perdi outra. Como eu já tenho bastante lutas, né? Já tenho derrotas, então pra mim não... Eu fiquei muito triste, com certeza, mas eu usei como evolução. Eu usei essa derrota como evolução, voltei a treinar forte e pra essa próxima luta aí.
Yeah, last year I fought twice. I won the first, I lost after that. But I have a lot of fights in my career, so I took as an experience. It's all about evolution, so I'm 100%, I'm sure I'm going to be ready and better for my next fight.
Nice. I think there's some injuries that you had to deal with last year. I guess what did it take to get through those, and where do you stand in your recovery now?
Você teve que lidar com alguma lesão ano passado? Você precisou se recuperar? Como é que foi esse processo? Como é que você está agora?
Com certeza, né? A gente que vem da luta aí, a gente que é bastante agressivo, tem bastante lesões. Eu tive algumas lesões, mas me recuperei muito bem e estou preparado para esse ano de novo.
Yes, of course. Since we are fighters and aggressive fighters like myself, we always have injuries, right? I did have some injuries, but now I'm 100%.
So I guess talk about the feeling as we get ready to start on another season. I mean, potentially a long year with a lot of fights, but a good reward at the end. What's the emotion like for you as we get ready to start?
Vou falar de uma nova temporada, uma temporada um pouco longa, mas que tem um grande prêmio no final. Quais são as expectativas que você está sentindo agora para o início dessa temporada?
Expectativa as melhores possíveis. Estou muito feliz de estar no evento. O PFL mudou minha vida e eu acho que assim, quando o atleta está feliz faz muita diferença. Estou muito bem preparado também e vamos para cima.
Expectations are better than possible, and PFL has changed my life, and I'm ready. I'm just go forward, and that's it.
Going through the season a couple times, I guess what's the biggest lesson you learned into what it takes to make it through an entire year and make it to the end?
Que grandes lições você já tirou de como lidar com a temporada, do que fazer para chegar até o final?
Bom, é uma temporada longa, né, de 4 lutas no ano. A gente tem que se preservar bem, tomar cuidado para não ter lesões. Então eu acho que isso é o principal fator assim do GP.
It's a long season, 4 fights, so we need to be smart and take care of our bodies. The most important thing is preserving our body and avoiding injuries through the season.
We know you're starting out with Mateus. I guess getting that matchup, was that important to you? Did it matter that you're getting a chance to fight him again, or was it just any opponent was fine?
Quando te escalaram para lutar com o Mateus, foi importante para você ter essa revanche? Era isso que você queria ou para você tanto fazer?
Bom, com certeza foi importante. Eu gosto de desafios. O Mateus é um adversário muito duro e estou me preparando bem para, se Deus quiser, sair com essa vitória.
Of course, it was important. I love challenge, and I know how tough he is, and I'm sure I'm preparing myself 100% for this fight.
Is it kind of personal for you? Like, does this have a little extra meaning to you, or can you let yourself think like that, knowing that you have a whole season to get through?
É importante para você pouco ter a questão do desafio, uma coisa, motivação a mais, enfrentar com alguém que você já ganhou de você?
Com certeza, eu quero dar esse revés aí na minha carreira e vai ser muito bom para mim.
Of course, I want to win the rematch for sure, and I'm sure it's going to be really good for me in my career.
Nice. Last thing for me, I guess, what would it mean for you to be champion again this year?
O que significaria para você ser campeão de novo nessa temporada?
Provar para mim mesmo que eu tenho grande talento e quero muito.
Would be good to prove to myself how good I am and how much I want to do this.
Hey Bruno, how frustrating was it to be on the sidelines as the defending champion, watching the season go on?
Quão frustrante foi para você ver a temporada passar, no passado, e sendo um campeão, estar na sideline, né? Tá meio que de lado, vendo tudo acontecer.
Bom, ninguém está preparado para uma derrota, né? Mas para mim foi um pouco até que bom. Eu consegui dar uma respirada aí, ficar um pouco com a minha família, que eu precisava muito. E volto renovado para a nova season.
Actually, nobody's ready to lose, but for me it was kind of good because I took time to enjoy my family, take a rest, and be ready for the new season.
And then former opponent of yours, Yuri Prohaska, has gone on to win the UFC title. You've gone on to win a PFL title. Just how cool was it? How interesting has it been to watch his rise through the light heavyweight division?
Um antigo oponente seu, Giro Prochaska, foi campeão do UFC e você foi campeão do PFL. Quão interessante foi para você esse crescimento dos dois, principalmente dele conseguir acompanhar o crescimento dele e chegar a ser campeão do UFC?
Foi muito importante para mim, né? Porque eu vi o meu nível de atleta, né? Eu vi que eu estou entre os melhores do mundo, então eu uso isso como motivação sempre.
It was very important for me because I could see myself, my level. So I know that how good I am, and I'm on top level. I'm fighting the best in the world.
Thank you.
Last season we saw a big upset when Larissa beat Kayla. Do you see any other big upsets this season, either within your division or without, outside of it?
Na última temporada a gente viu uma grande zebra, digamos assim, quando a Larissa venceu a Kayla. Nesse ano você vê alguma possibilidade de alguma grande zebra, não importa a categoria, em alguma grande zebra no evento?
Bom, no momento, como não começou a season ainda, não vejo muito assim. Vou esperar aí para dar uma acompanhada nas outras categorias para poder responder melhor essa resposta.
Yeah, so far, since the season didn't start yet, it's too early for me to answer that. I'm gonna wait a little bit, and after the first fights, I can answer you better.
And is there anyone in your division that you're most excited to fight, looking forward and seeing the rest of the opponents that you have?
Tem alguém na sua categoria que você está mais interessado, mais animado em enfrentar, olhando para frente, na sua categoria?
Bom, que eu estou mais interessado em enfrentar, não, mas quem eu não queria enfrentar é meu companheiro de equipe, o Marcelo. Se Deus quiser aí, a gente vai chegar na final e é isso.
Yeah, there's nobody I'm very interested to fight, but there's one person I don't want to fight. It's Marcelo, a training partner of mine, and hopefully we're going to fight just in the final.
Did you actually did you kind of do some research about, because last season there were some teammates that had to fight and they talked a little bit about what they liked and didn't like about it. Have you looked into that in case that does happen for you?
Na última temporada teve o caso de companheiros de treino que se enfrentaram e antes da luta eles falaram vantagem e desvantagem, o que eles gostam ou não. Você já pensou sobre isso? Sobre a possibilidade de ter que enfrentar o Marcelo na final?
Bom, igual a gente conversou já, eu não penso nisso agora, porque tem mais 8, além de eu e ele, tem 8 atletas, né? Então a gente tem 4 lutas aí pela frente. E acho melhor a gente esperar, ver o que vai acontecer pela season, antes de pensar qualquer coisa, né?
To be honest, we didn't think about it, we didn't talk about it. Besides us, there are more fighters, so we're gonna wait until the season. We have to fight four times this season. So yeah, by the time the chance happens, we are gonna talk about it, but now it's too early for that.
Thank you.
Cool. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've been around PFL a little bit, but jumping into a season, I guess what's the feeling like ahead of the start?
Acho que agora sorry. I think it's a great opportunity for me now. PFL is a big MMA company. It's growing crazy, and I'm very excited for this year, for this season. I'll be prepared hard, and I can't wait to fight.
I know you haven't been like super active in your MMA career, so the chance to fight 4 times this year, are you having to prepare differently or train differently, knowing you could be really, really active?
Yeah, I just talked to Bruno Cappelozza about that. I said I can't wait to fight. I feel like I'm really in shape to fight tomorrow if I have to. He's like, no, just wait because you're gonna have a long season. Fights just starting,
And obviously, you're a heavyweight now. I mean, are you training differently? Are you trying to bulk up, or I mean, what's it like for you to kind of establish as a heavyweight?
No, I usually walk around like 250 pounds, and all those guys I train in the gyms, nobody less 240. I'm probably the smaller guy in there. Everybody's big, and I'm comfortable going with the bigger people. I just keep my regular training, lifting, doing jiu-jitsu, doing striking, doing nothing different for the preparation.
How much did you weigh when you were competing at middleweight? Were you going through like crazy weight cuts?
Crazy weight cuts. I lose like 15 pounds in one day for the weight cut. It's really, really tough. That's why I decided to move to heavyweight because it's very hard for me to hold the weight down,
Have you found it challenging? I know a lot of fighters, they cut weight a lot, right? Because they want to be, maybe the bigger guy or whatever. But as you've been ahead, have you found it difficult to match the strength?
I feel now it's easier because when I was to fight 185, it's very big challenge to cut the weight, to go down, and it feels like it's an extra fight, you know, keep the weight down, no eating. Now you can eat hamburgers the day before and go there and fight, you know.
Nice. All right, you got your first matchup with Maurice. What do you think about him as an opponent? What challenges he presents to you?
I think he's a kickboxer. When I live in Minnesota, he used to go there to do some training, the gym I training with back the day. And I think his strong game is kickboxing. I think he's gonna try to keep the fight standing.
Nice. Did you guys ever train together at all, or you were just in the same room?
No, this is the same room. He used to go there to help one of my friends. I was a heavyweight at the time, and I'm too small at the time. I fight 185, like walk around 200 pounds, and he's too big for me at the time. And he lose a lot of weight. Before I remember him, like he's really, really big.
Yeah.
Now he's looking shape. He's a different guy now.
So you're expecting him to try to kickbox the whole time, and I guess it's kind of an old school fight, right? I imagine you're going to try to grapple.
Yeah, today everybody train everything. He's probably train a little bit grappling, but I believe his strongest game is kickboxing. And he's have like a great training camp over there with John Jones and those guys. For sure they do wrestling, but we do good training here too. Have a lot of good people helping me out the camp, wrestling, kickboxing. I prepare for whatever the fight takes. You know?
Nice. The opportunity to fight in Las Vegas, is that exciting for you?
Yeah, it's very exciting. No, Las Vegas is home now. I have a bunch of people from the gym. I teach jiu-jitsu here in Las Vegas in Drysdale Jiu-Jitsu. And have a bunch of students come there to watch. And have family have come from Brazil too. Is going to be here. My mom's going to be here. Uncle and auntie. It's kind of very exciting.
Nice. Last thing for me, I guess the goal here, a win. Is it to win as quickly as possible? I mean, obviously, potentially 4 fights this year, so is the goal to go out and finish this as quickly as possible?
Yeah, if you guys look at my record, 9 wins, 1 loss. All my fights are finishes. I have all of them first round, just one in the second round. For sure, come for his neck.
I'm just curious, what was your biggest reason for wanting to sign with the PFL?
Ronnie Marks, I stopped fighting for 4.5 years after my loss in Lovato. I kind of stopped doing MMA and focused my jiu-jitsu. Doing a lot of jiu-jitsu competition, win awards, win Panemas, a big jiu-jitsu competition. And he's like, man, you good, go back fighting. And I always help him in his training camps. Then I said, okay, let's go fight. Then I pick one fight, one small promotion, win, then take a second one, small promotion. Then I have the opportunity to fight in the Challenger Series. Ray Seth will give me the opportunity, offer, and I take it.
What are your keys to victory for this fight?
How's my case to victory?
Keys to victory.
Sorry, I don't understand.
What do you need to do to win?
Yeah.
I think if I take him down, I gotta take him swing a big shark. It's gonna be harder for him in the ground to me.
And my last question, who besides you has the best jiu-jitsu in PFL right now?
Bruno Cappelozza.
Let's X him out. Who else?
The best jiu-jitsu? I don't know. They used to have Verdun back then, no there no more. The guy Cleet Sobreu, I think he's the best. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Who's have the best jiu-jitsu?
Thank you.
Over here.
Oh.
You're living and training in Las Vegas. How much easier is it now than it used to be to find quality training partners here?
I actually never traveled to do training camps. My last fight I went to Brazil because my entire team go to Brazil. The team Picanha, Ron, and those guys went to Brazil. I go to Natal, train over there. But it's easier, you know, fight where we live. You don't have to travel, be in the hotel. You know, it's much easier fighting in your hometown, for sure.
Las Vegas is becoming more known now for having high quality elite gyms in MMA. Why do you think more people are coming?
I think it's quality training here, good training partners. You know, all the fighters come here. They say it's a capital of MMA. Everybody's coming here.
You don't have to cut weight this time. For this fight, where are you going to celebrate?
Probably barbecue in my house, in the back of the house after that. Grill some picanha, you know, churrasco.
Thank you.
Are we invited?
Yeah,
All good.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, what's up?
Thank
Appreciate it. A few months, but I guess talking about the debut experience, right? I mean, Madison Square Garden, big knockout, big result. I mean, what was that like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I was so happy the fight was over because I had so much anxiety going into the fight. But I also was meditating a lot, praying a lot, felt like I saw the fight 1,000 times in my head, and I was excited to get the win, for sure.
When you talk about the anxiety, like obviously that's normal for any fight, right? Was it just that normal? Because I know there's so much attention on you even as an amateur. Was it that, or was you just talking about just the normal kind of nerves that come with a fight?
It was the normal nerves going into a fight, but everything else too. You know, I'm an amateur with the PFL. I'm fighting in Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden on a PFL card, the World Championship card. So yeah, it was a lot of weight for sure, but again, like through God and meditation and praying, like you can do anything.
That's awesome. I'm not sure anybody was more excited than Flavor Flav that you got that victory. Were you able to see or hear his reaction outside?
I couldn't hear him until after the fight, and then I saw him jumping up and down for sure.
He's proud of you.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's talk about the opportunity here now, right? Fighting in Las Vegas. Is it change? I mean, this is fight capital of the world, but it's also home, right? So is it that same pressure, less pressure, more fun? What is it like?
I think it's the same. You know, there's always going to be that pressure. It's just dealing with the pressure that matters most. Yeah, I'm super excited to be able to fight in my hometown and around my friends and family, and they get to actually like physically go to the fight and stuff. So I'm super excited for this one.
Nice. Not many amateurs have media days, get a lav mic on, you know, follow around. Is there any part of you that's ever like, dude, I wish these people would just leave me alone and just let me just kind of try to grow into this?
There's like 2% that says that, but I just know it's gonna happen. So it's just dealing with it, really.
Nice. Talk about the matchup you have here. Obviously, at the amateur level, sometimes there's not a lot of tape. There's not a lot. Do you know anything about Isaiah, or have you been able to find anything about him?
I know he wrestled in high school. He's 1-1 right now. He trains out of Flagstaff. That's all I really know. I didn't really watch any of his last 2 fights, but I think we have enough to study what he likes to do and whatnot. So yeah, super excited. I'm just glad he was able to say yes to the fight, and the last couple of weeks have been kind of anxious because we couldn't really find somebody. But Isaiah stood up and said, I'll take the fight, so I respect that.
It's awesome. You made a big statement last time. This would be another one. I mean, are you talking about turning pro yet? Are you guys having those discussions, or do you kind of wait till after each fight? Like, what's the discussion like?
Not talking about turning pro until I'm ready to turn pro. Right now, I just want to get as many fights as I can until I feel and my coach feels that I'm ready to turn pro.
I was going to say, who do you trust to make that decision, yourself or your coaches?
My coaches,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, my head coach Dennis Davis. He's been in the game for a long time, and he knows what he's talking about. So whenever he thinks that I'm ready to make that next step, then I'm gonna listen to him.
I dig it. Last thing for me, what's the goal here? I mean, obviously going there, a quick knockout would be nice again, but maybe some experience, getting pushed, getting tested a little bit, not the worst either, right? So kind of what is the hope for this fight?
A fight's a fight, so anything can happen in a fight. I'm prepared for anything, you know, for it to go the distance, for me to get tested, challenged, like you said, or for it to be quick. You know, anything can happen in a fight. You just got to keep your mind open.
I know you said you haven't talked about when you want to turn pro, but have you thought at all about what that will be like when you do? Not so much a time frame, but what you see for your pro career. Do you envision going right into the tournament? Do you envision just kind of doing 1 or 2 fights? Have you thought about that at all?
Not really, actually. I do know that, you know, fighting as an amateur on the PFL and being able to fight on a stage like now is preparing me for pro. You know, I think once I turn pro, I'm going to be a little bit used to the stage and the lights and whatnot, because that plays a big part in a fight too. You know, if a fighter is going from kind of here to here, you know, it's kind of new to them, the lights and everything. But to be able to do it as an amateur is definitely preparing me for pro. As far as going into the tournament, I'm not sure. You know, when the time happens, anything can happen when the time comes. So.
Are you worried that when that time to turn pro comes, that it may not be a choice? It may be because you can't find any more amateur fights, that you may be like, all right, if I want to fight, I have to be pro. Is that something you've thought about at all?
Definitely, yeah. That could happen. But, you know, if an amateur fighter is going to take the fight, you know, I think for both of us, it's great experience to be able to fight on a big stage like that on live TV. You know, I don't know why an amateur wouldn't take the fight, because it's just great experience, you know. So take advantage of that. It's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm super grateful that I have this opportunity. So.
Thank you.
Who are some of your main training partners?
I train with a lot of really good guys. Mads Burnell is one of my main training partners. Blake Monty, he's an amateur too. He's up and coming. dude's a beast. So I work with him a lot. Jeremy Kennedy I work with. Got around with Kai Kamaka. Yeah, there's just a lot of good guys in this gym that I work with, and I take advantage of getting a couple rounds with them. That way I can get a really good look, you know.
You have some random but unique tattoos.
Yeah.
Do they mean something, or are they just kind of random?
Some of them mean something. Some are random, kind of like the shark. I like hammerhead sharks, so I kind of got that. That was random. But yeah, most of them mean something. Like obviously the butterfly and the bee represents my grandfather and what he used to say. But Versace. I actually did a photo shoot with them a couple of years ago in Milan, so I was super excited for that, and I got a tattoo right after. But yeah, I'm planning on getting more too, so some will definitely be random.
Awesome, thanks, man.
Over here, outside of the octagon, you are a very mild-mannered guy. My kids happen to go to Vandenberg Elementary
okay.
School.
That's
I've
awesome.
talked to a couple. They've had some of your same teachers, as
Yeah.
they've had some of Nico's same teachers. None of them saw this coming.
Wow.
When in your kind of training did you realize that fighting is actually going to be what you were going to be spending your time on, and this is going to be your career?
Yeah. At the time when I started training, I was kind of lost. I had finished playing football and I didn't really know what to do. I felt like almost like I had no purpose. So I was interning at a sports facility here as an assistant strength and conditioning coach, and a lot of the athletes that I was working with were guys that trained here at Xtreme Couture, like Puni, Jeremy Kennedy, and Kai Kamaka. Like, these were guys that I used to work with as an assistant strength and conditioning coach. And I just remember, and at the same time I was training here as well, so I just remember thinking to myself, you know, I'm 22 years old, why am I coaching? Like, why can't I be the athlete again? I miss being the athlete, I miss putting in the work, and I only have one life, so I don't want to be 35 years old and think, oh, well, what if I took MMA serious? Would I have been a good fighter? I don't want to have these kind of questions when I'm older. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to just go for it and just put in all the work and just only live, breathe, and sleep MMA. So.
Sheta, you talked about letting your coaches guide you on your professional path. Your family's got a lot of experience in the fighting industry.
Mm-hmm.
What part of this do they play in the decision-making process with you, especially Nico? He's very early in his professional career.
My dad basically like manages me and my brother right now, so usually we'll talk with my dad and my mom about certain things, whether it's like a sponsorship or what's next and whatnot. But as far as like MMA and fights and stuff like that, I usually go to my head coach Dennis and talk to him about stuff like that, and then we'll sit down, we'll make a couple choices and whatnot. But yeah, like I still go to my brother sometimes for some advice, you know, for striking, especially because he's a boxer, you know, and he gives me great advice, and yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one more. Sorry. Recently, you were given an award for like helping or rescuing a woman that was in distress. I was wondering if you could tell me like a little bit about what happened there.
Oh yeah. So I work part-time security at one of the nightclubs out here, and there was a guy that was trying to walk out this girl who was too intoxicated. She couldn't walk, she couldn't talk, she was like completely out of it, and it just looked kind of sketchy to me. So I stopped them, and her friend was actually looking for her, and she ended up finding her when I stopped the two. And I asked her friend, I said, do you guys know this guy? She's like, no, I don't know him. So then I pulled him aside and asked him, do you know her? And he was like, yeah, I know her like a sister. And then I looked at him, I'm like, you're lying to me, you know. And then he started running his mouth, and I said, you know what, stay here. And basically we kicked the guy out for trespassing, but who knows what could have happened. And I actually, the day that I received that certificate was when I found out that he actually had her phone. So it was a very sketchy situation, and I'm glad I put a stop to it, because I don't know what could have happened, you know. So.
Can I just ask a follow-up to that? Because you mentioned that it looked sketchy. What specific, because I think a lot of people kind of see things that look out of place, or maybe they look too normal to them. What did you see that maybe somebody else should actually keep an eye out for in that situation? We live in a town of nightclubs.
Yeah.
Shit happens all the time.
For sure. Yeah, so, you know, working security there, I'm obviously sober and everybody else is intoxicated. So I see a lot of stuff that some people won't see when they're intoxicated. But, yeah, I was looking at this table. The girls had a table, and the guy that was walking her out wasn't at her table. So I had known that, like, he's an outside force talking to someone who had a table, and he's trying to leave with her. So it just didn't look right. It didn't feel right with me, so I just stopped the situation.
With Nico, obviously he's a little further along in his career than you are, and I know you guys support each other, but are you guys competitive as far as, you know, he wants to be better at his sport than you at yours, or are you guys just...
As far as MMA and boxing, like, we let each other just stay in our own lane, really. We help each other out, too. We watch fights together. I ask him certain questions about boxing and striking and stuff, and he gives me great answers and great responses. The only thing we are really competitive is Mortal Kombat. When we play Mortal Kombat, we get really competitive.
So I'm sure you probably work stand up with him, but have you convinced him to roll around a little bit?
What's that?
Have you convinced him to do some non-boxing activities? Such as
Not
rolling?
yet, but I plan on it soon. Now that you say it, yeah.
And then Mom, she's been around obviously combat sports for a long time, but is it different when she's watching her son in MMA? I mean, it's a different kind of dynamic of what they're looking
Yeah,
for. She's looking at.
Fight's a fight, yeah. My mom's gonna always be super nervous. She would rather me and my brother play golf or tennis or something like that. But yeah, any fight, she's gonna be super nervous. She's gonna be biting her nails and whatnot. So, for sure. Even when I played football, she was like, "Oh God, please don't get hit." So.
And then last thing, with a name like that, you know, it has, you know, a lot of advantages, gives a lot of opportunities, but it also, do you think it carries some undue pressure put on you, you know, to live up to that name, or at least do the best you can? I mean, it's almost impossible to live up to that name, of course.
100%. You know, I had that when I was 14 years old playing football, and that was a whole different sport. You know, Max Preps, they do coverage on like high school sports. It came out who I was related to, and I have no idea how, like to this day. And since then, it was always, oh, Muhammad Ali's grandson, this and that with football. And now I'm in a combat sport. It's probably a little bit elevated, but in terms of the pressure and dealing with the pressure, I've known it since I was 14. So.
Is that partly why you went to MMA, maybe, so you can kind of carve your own lane instead of being compared to somebody?
I went into MMA because I fell in love with the sport, you know, and every fighter wants to make a name for themselves, so I'm just like any other fighter, you know. Everyone wants to create their own name, their own legacy. I'm doing the exact same thing. The only difference is I have a famous grandfather, and I'm going to get some more notoriety because of it, but what really matters is what happens in the cage and how you can perform, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good. Thanks, sir. Great season last year. Didn't quite get the mission done, but a great one, I guess. How would you, looking back, what are your thoughts on it?
Man, I feel like I was personally, I'm biased as hell. So I feel like I was winning most of the rounds and, got stopped in the fourth. So I feel like I was winning a race and tripped at the finish line, so to speak. I feel like he did his best job to best me in that round, and just excited for the season to start again, to get that opportunity again. 6 months of hard focus. I believe we can not only be back in the same seat, but be holding the belt at the end of the year. So that's the goal.
Well, it took a pretty special performance from him to get it done. So I guess, did he surprise maybe even you? Because I think a lot of people said that's the best he's ever looked.
I don't think anything that was surprising. We worked on the leg kicks. I had my shins rolled out for leg kicks. The takedown attempts were, we weren't going to force anything, but we were definitely looking for some different things. But like I said, he put on a hell of a performance. It definitely was worth $1 million for him, because I'm no easy feat to beat, and I was in the right place at the right time. I felt great, conditioning, everything was beautiful, and we just didn't come away with the victory as we wanted. But bad man things all over again, and we run things don't run we, so we at it again.
I love it. Pretty quick turnaround when you think about it, right? Especially knowing the kind of grind that year can be. So I'm just curious, mentally, has it been tough to reset and be all right, we got to start at the bottom of the mountain again and work the way up? How challenging has it been?
as a challenge, as a champion, as a challenger, as someone who's competed, it definitely was a little rough to restart. You know, being that you know the work that it takes to get to that opportunity, and when you're at that stage, the balance is so delicate. You know, everything that goes into the fight can play into it. You know, the way they treat you leading up. You know, what corner you walk out in, the songs that are played, everything is such a delicate balance at that point that you just hope it goes your way, and it didn't. So we are motivated, inspired for sure, but also I don't think that I've had the wars in the fight game that a lot of people have had for as long as I've been in the fight game. I'm a beautiful 35 and I don't got a gray hair on me, so the fact that I can restart it, be in the right mindset again to say, you know what, I don't know how many of those guys are motivated to run it back like that season again, but I'm probably one of the most motivated because I was so close and never came away with it.
That's awesome. So the time in between, has it been more about recovery and just getting yourself healthy and ready, or are there have been things that you've wanted to tweak that you're like, all right, here's what we got to get better at? Like, what's the focus been?
Well, we definitely tweaked some things. I need more orthodox standing, because if I was a little bit more orthodox standing, I wouldn't have the knot on my shin that I still have to this moment. Being in southpaw and him tearing that leg up, I didn't see the numbers, but if I was going to go off my head, I probably got kicked in that leg probably 64 times or something. And he probably did. I mean, I have a shield on my leg now that is the hematoma that has healed and has rock solid it. So thanks to him, I am more dangerous on that side. But I wanted to have more offense from my other offensive stances. I wanted to be more crisp with my punching. I saw a couple of punches that just missed. I mean, that had all the $1 million intentions on him, and that he did a great job of just getting out of the way. So part of me is trying to locate where he was slipping to this year, and anybody else who moves like him, and just being more dynamic in my striking. I probably could have forced my wrestling a little bit more. I feel like I lost the championship from lack of composure and lack of focus after that illegal shot that I took. I didn't take the time to reset and stay composed. I felt like in the fight, while we were fighting, everything was going beautifully. Music was playing and we were dancing in a wonderful dance. And as soon as I got kicked and the music stopped and we stopped, my legs started screaming at me, my body started screaming at me. The ref was screaming at me, not to talk to Dewey, who was screaming at me. So there was a lot going on, and had I, in a sense, stayed composed, took a deep breath, recalculated, I feel like we could have walked away with a better ending, and therefore I'm focused on all of those things.
The ultimate goal is to get to the end, right? But when they announced the first matchup for you, what were your thoughts? Were you excited about it? I mean, it's a fight that kind of had to happen, right?
No, it definitely is a fight that's got to happen. Like, we got to run it back, that's a thing. I don't believe I was the same Bubba, Jesse, Badman, Jenkins, any names of those were. I was not that guy on the first time me and Wade fought. And a little bit of a part of me believes that I was. He believes that, I beat it really good, really in shape, and that's just not the case. So I'm hoping to show him a new and better and improved Bubba Jenkins. I really didn't see it as that advantageous thing for me. I kind of see it as, damn, PFL, y'all don't give your boy a break at all. Hey, welcome to the PFL. Why don't you take on our two-time champion in Lance Palmer? Hey, welcome to the PFL. Why don't you take on ex-veteran Kyle Boshiak on an 8-day notice randomly as you're getting ready for the tall Korean guy, take on this random Boshiak dude who's definitely a tough fighter. Oh, again, yeah, welcome back to the PFL. Why don't you take on our two-time semifinalist, another finalist? Oh, okay, so. But, me being the bad man, it's always bad man things. Anybody can get it. Everybody go and get it. The thing about Chris Wade is I just have to go back to that place of staying composed. He has a haircut and a smile that makes me angry. So I'm not too fond of the fact that I know that I'll have to temper my emotions. But it is a part of why I feel like I didn't win the championship. So my Lord chastens those that he loves, and I feel like if I continue to go back to correcting myself and becoming a better person, better fighter, better everything, then I can come away with having more composure and being less emotional. Even though I try to give the fans what they want and give them the antics and laughing and having a good time, damn it, I need that $1 million.
Well, last thing for me, and I think you kind of touched on there because I was kind of curious, like, when you look at this fight, do you look at this as like, this is personal and I got a statement to make, or it's like, hey, this is just a guy and I just need to get 6 points and get myself into the playoffs, you know what I mean?
No, hell no. This is personal. I got a statement to make. I can't even fake it. Last mistake that we made was thinking that the championship fight was any other fight, that there wasn't going to be emotions, that there wasn't going to be lows and highs, So to kind of manipulate staying calm and being composed, we kind of fake that factor. It's just a regular fight, just keep going. No, but it's more intense. And with this training camp, we have practiced at an intense rate. We have emotionally got invested into it so that we can practice him saying the wrong thing or looking the wrong way, and then me going, oh no, I'll stay composed, and then going, fuck you say? So there's a part of me that is the bad man, and then there's a part of me that is trying to stay in a Jesse-like mindset so that I can smoothly walk my way into a victory. But yes, it's personal. I won't fake it. If he hits me, I'm gonna bite down on my mouthpiece and try to not only hit him but knock him unconscious. So I'm going to be playing into that as I go into training and as I go into everything that leads up to that week.
Okay, Bubba, the first fight was kind of heated. Are you ready for the trash talk and just the back and forth?
That's exactly what I was just saying. Coach has done a good job of getting fighters in the room that are a little bit hard to catch, a little bit karate-like, and I'm a guy that's just like, no, stand here and let's get it. Even with the Brandon Loughnane fight, I'm not the striker, but I stood in the middle like, nah, bro, let's do this whole striking thing we spoke about, and I don't really want to use my wrestling, but you're making me, right? So we have definitely put in the ideal that is going to be some trash talking. He's going to say something disrespectful. He might even bring my children up. I don't think he's that type of guy, but just to get under my skin, people know that if you do something like that, you could possibly take my focus, and that's something that I wanna correct as I sit.
So you don't like his haircut, so should he shave his head, or what's up?
I don't like his face. I don't like the way he breathes. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he laughs. I don't like the way he cries. I don't like the way he fights. I don't like anything about Chris Wade, period. Not where he's from, not where he's going. There's nothing about Chris Wade that I can actually say, other than that he's got an amazing management team.
And then finally, there's been some more college wrestlers come in, and as a credentialed wrestler yourself, why is it, do you think, more college wrestlers are coming to MMA?
We're the baddest of athletes. The grind is very similar. It's right down our alley of how we already lived, and it's almost like learning another part of wrestling when you add kickboxing, mixed martial arts, because we're learning how to get off bottom. We're learning how to take people down. We're learning how to ride people on top. There's different nuances to each part of the wrestling game that you have to add. So when you're like, okay, add top, add bottom, add takedowns, add kicks, add punches, now you're a fighter. And it's just like, oh, just add a couple more things. Now, of course, being in the game, I know it is not that easy. Just add punches, add kicks, and know what you're doing, But I believe because of our mindset and because of what we've already been through, we have the best chances to be successful. And I believe takedowns and wrestling mindset helps you, win a fight. The champion fighters generally come from a wrestling background, if you look at the numbers.
What do you think of Bo Nickals' debut?
I thought it was a successful debut. I thought that they are doing a good job of bringing wrestling to the forefront of mixed martial arts. I know for sure he's going to be a good fighter, but I know he needs a lot more work. I believe it's too quick. Even in my beginning career, I rushed to the forefront of Bellator a little too quick, and had I had maybe better people in my corner who knew more about the sport to say, hey, let's go a little bit slower, because once you fall from here, that fall is precipitous. Once you leave the NBA, once you leave the NFL, it's only arena leagues after this, right? Except for the fact that we are growing in other organizations that can speak for great shows, great fights, like the PFL, you know. But once you get on that main stage and you're at the top, at the highest, when you're not prepared for it, that fall hurts, and it could come very quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just one for me. How do you find the balance? You talk about keeping composure, the maturation of what you learned after last season, but then you go into a guy like Wade where you want to have that aggression, you want to have that thoughts. How do you find that balance to where you don't get too engaged in the emotions and keep that composure?
You manufacture it as far as, you know, putting it into your training. You know, coach is like, Bub, I need you a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more mad, you know, and I do my best to do it, Cooper.
That was pretty good.
Thanks, appreciate it. But you know, he having a good coach reminds you to, you know, not rest on your laurels, not act like it's lackadaisical. I need you a little bit more intense. I need you a little bit more fired up. And, you know, I need you, hey, let's put on some DMX. Let's put on some, you know, hard music so you can have that intensity, Bub. So, you know, let's get it done. I love the dude. I got a good one. I didn't know I had a good one, but I got a good one. So it's honestly just listening to your corner and trying to find what you know it's going to feel like. The thing about me having fought Chris Wade is I have seen and I know what it looks like to be in front of him under the lights, sweating and wanting to hit him or wanting to do that. So knowing that, analyzing that, you try to bottle it and you try to, you know, make sure that throughout the camp you bring that out so it's not a foreign thing when it happens. So it's not new and you're not gassed off the anxiety of something that may or may go left or right.
You had said that you're not the same fighter that fought Wade. He's not the same fighter that fought you. So how are you able to address that instead of focusing on what he was? What do you see as him as a fighter now?
Y'all know me, man. Batman versus Batman. I have focused on him because he is my opponent. I have looked at it because there's an intensity that, you know, will rise regardless of what I want it to be, and there's an anxiety there that, you know, most people won't admit to, but I'm a real fighter and it's all about me. I don't really look at Chris Wade into the things that he's good at or the things that make him win this fight. I look at why I'm going to win this fight and the things that I'm good at. So the pressure is going to be on Chris Wade to try to beat me, while my pressure is just to be me.
You said that they've given you nothing but tough fights since you've been here, but if you were able to pick your opponent for the first round of this, would he be the one you'd want?
No, I would want Chris Wade when it mattered a little bit more. I would want Chris Wade when it mattered, so it hurts a little bit more. Because he got me when it mattered, actually. You know, so I would like to get it back in all the revenge that it is, but I'm not looking for revenge. I'm looking for correction. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave on that statement. That was a good statement. I'm not looking for revenge. I'm looking for correction.
Last one for me. I've been around Dewey for 15 years now. I've always said he's the most intense individual I've ever been around.
Yeah.
How does his energy rub off on you? I know you guys obviously work very closely together. So what's his energy like for you?
Man, it's the lap 11 on a 10-lap sprint. You know, he is that extra pump, that extra motivation. He's a cheat code. He makes me feel like I felt when I was in high school with my high school coach. If he was in the corner, I knew we had a massive advantage just off of experience, off of energy, off of anointing and vibrations. I knew that, you know, I was advantageous with that man in my corner. And it's the same feeling that I get with Dewey. Knowing that he's there, I actually am happy that he travels so much to go with other fighters, because I know when you see him or when you're walking out, that kind of warrior mindset, you look him in the eyes right before you walk out and you have an agreement that you're both in it together, and that's something that, you know, you don't get from everyone. That's something, you know, he's invested, you know, he's literally bled, you know, you almost clipped him a couple times during mitts and stuff like that, but he's right there and he goes nowhere. And the fact that he's there for so many people, customized there for so many people. He doesn't say the same thing that he would say to Marvin as he does to O'Day, as he does to me, as he does to other fighters, and he has an individualistic care for each person. And when you see that, you want the win for him. You want to win for him, and I'm definitely looking to try to get him that championship belt from PFL.
Thanks.
interrupt you, right? You mentioned kind of balancing or having a better connection with your emotions during the fight. And how fine is that line for you? Because you have to make sure that it doesn't overtake you,
Right.
but you have to be able to take advantage of it. Did you work with anybody special to actually help you along those lines?
I got back into my Bible a little bit more. It is not just a thin line, it almost is the same mixed line. You know, you do well with those emotions. You can see that it propels you to success and propels you to being, you know, who I am. You know, that's Bubba Jenkins when I'm having a good time and laughing, or, you know, just, you know, celebrating or doing my antics. I'm just me. I don't try to hide or be fake. So it's a thin line of that, but it's also like knowing that, you know, there are times where I allowed my focus inside the cage and outside the cage to hamper me, and it wasn't advantageous for me to try to blur those things. So yeah, as I'm getting into training, as I'm more mature in the fight game, I sit down and I try to analyze where I can be more calm, where I can be less emotional, and just secret words inside my head while I'm training that keep me in that place. When I was in high school, my coach would always say, treat it like practice, because I could go for 7 hours straight in practice, but the anxiety of me being this great wrestler and then stepping out on the mat had me in a place where I would crash a little bit conditioning wise because of the anxiety of everyone watching and newspapers and everything. So there was like an anxiety there. And as I've analyzed who I was then, it's like, okay, let me try to figure out how to temper this and how to control this. And, you know, I've worked with different people over the years, but mostly it's about, you know, going to prayer, going to my Bible, and seeing a place where I can have that peace that surpasses all understanding.
You mentioned Bo Nickel maybe moving along too fast, and you mentioned kind of maybe you moved along too fast in your Bellator career as well. What would you say to yourself maybe 10 years ago about kind of being a businessman instead of being in this business, man?
Right, man, that's a statement. I would have said to definitely, there's a long career ahead. You know, you don't have to rush to the forefront to tell everybody you can fight. People know I'm a national champion. People know that if it gets ugly, I can fight, I can scrap. But to actually be able to do it when the lights are on, when you have so much going on and going against a skilled opponent, is a different thing. And to balance that is a mastery of itself. And some people who are immature, they just want to start. You know, if I was a redshirt freshman in college and I just wanted so much to start. I didn't care if it was up a weight class. I didn't care when it was during the season. I just wanted to start. I just wanted to get my position. I want to show my shine. I want to make my bones. I want to get out there. But to really be at that stage that you need to be on, you need to go in the back room and prove to yourself and prove to the people in your circle that you can not only live a championship-like lifestyle, but become that champion.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome.
Bing. Bad man thinks.
Certainly it was a great night for you, but you've had a few months to process. What does the whole thing mean to finally accomplish it?
To be honest, like it feels amazing, first and foremost, and happy to be here with you guys. But to be honest, I didn't even bring the belt because for me, the belt is not gonna help me when the cage doors closes, right? So I was like, that's last season. This is a new season. I'm not defending anything. I'm coming here to get a new one.
Yeah. I wonder what the mindset is like, right? Because in traditional MMA organizations, you do hear champs say that, right? They're like, well, no, I'm going to win this belt again.
Yeah.
But that's actually true in the PFL, right?
Yep.
Like you are no
Yep.
longer
Yep.
the champ. So is that difficult? I mean, does it like provide you with something that you do have the belt and you know what it takes to win, or do you feel like you're just another challenger at this point?
So at this point, I look at it this way: like I've fought 3 seasons to get up to where I'm actually gonna fight for the belt and winning the belt. So I believe that I became better and I improved and I worked on what I needed to work on to be able to get this medal, right? But by no means am I thinking that I'm going into this season as the champion or nothing like that. I'm going in more hungry than I was last season because now I know that I found the path and I'm gonna actually try to make a statement this season.
It's awesome. You stayed busy in the off season, right? Trip
Yeah.
to Senegal, it looked
Yeah.
like. I mean, what did that mean to you? It looked like a very special
Oh
time.
my God! Like I went to Sweden, I went to Senegal, I went to Vietnam and Bali, but both Sweden and Senegal, like they embraced me a lot. Like it was so amazing. It's hard to understand how people can be so happy for you and like I got the best reception ever. Like I'm so thankful. So that's why, like, my motivation for this season, I promised them I'm coming back with 2 next year. So the motivation is just fire.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it a difficult mental grind? It seems like you're in a good spot and you're excited, right? But I mean, you know how long this season is and
Yeah.
how much it takes to get to the top of the mountain again.
Yeah.
Is it mentally daunting a little bit to be like, I'm starting at the bottom and got to go all the way up again?
Both yes and no, because the thing is, like I said, I've been doing this format now since 2018. So I believe I know what it takes. I know like there's gonna be ups and downs. There's gonna be days that you more motivated than others, and vice versa, right? Cutting weight 4 times is not the most fun, but for me, I wake up every day, and to be honest, I feel like it's a privilege. I'm here, I'm training, I'm healthy, and I have the opportunity to fight one more season, one more fight. So that's all I think about.
Nice. Let's say for me, I guess talking about the first matchup that you have, kind of a new name.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to break him down? What challenges do you think he presents? What do you think about the fight?
Yeah, like I believe he's a very nice guy. Always, like when we met, very respectful guy, and I like his style of fighting. I believe stylistically, you're gonna hear me say this, but I believe that stylistically is a good matchup for me. I'm taller. He's primarily a striker as well, and I believe that he wants to do things that I want to do, and that his style of not being that aggressive is not the best way to fight me, I believe. So on paper, I believe that this matchup is very good. Having said all of that, I believe that he's gonna come more motivated than ever. That's what I'm training for. So I have to be ready from the get-go. And my goal is to put a statement on. He had a bad showing his last fight, so I don't want him to gain any confidence. So look for a quick start this season.
What was your first purchase?
Oh, what was my first? So my first purchase was actually, I don't know how many tickets for my whole family to Senegal. We went there together. I believe we were like 20 people. We rent an amazing spot out there. So that was actually but I don't like I said before the finals, when I was asked what I was gonna do with the money and stuff like that if I were to win. For me, just being able to focus on this season and knowing that I don't have to worry about rent, I don't have to worry about nothing like that. Just I can invest in seeing a chiropractor every day if I need to. Like, so for me, I'm just trying to stay, have the longevity in this game, you know. So I'm investing in myself.
So we're not going to see you driving a Lambo and like four Rolexes?
I did not say that. Did you guys hear me say that?
All right.
Yeah.
Who were some of your main training partners this camp?
The team here is amazing. Starting from the coaches with all the fighters. I've been training a lot with people with both, like all different sizes, and people that fight southpaw, people that fight orthodox. I've been training with Marvin, Sean, Chris, Brad a lot. Have Shimon that came in from Israel just now. Edmund Sharbazian. I know I'm forgetting people. Nicolas Mota. So I have so much, like so many great bodies, and like for me, I don't mind training with different body types, because even though we have a game plan, even though my trainers are working out, like it's a fight, anything can happen. So I believe it's good to be prepared for anything.
Last question. How the hell do you make welterweight? I mean, it's just...
Yeah. Like, I saw that food. They just brought in a lot of food, and I was like, yeah, this is just something else that I need to go through, like, mentally. Like, it's not fun, but it's part of, like, I fight for the Professional Fighters League. I'm a professional. I signed the contract that I was gonna fight in 170, and that's what I'm gonna do. 171. 171 for this one. So it's not fun, but to be honest, my partner, she helps me out a lot. Like she goes back and forth to Sweden. So now she went to Sweden last week. I already have meal preps already for 3 weeks so I don't have to worry about nothing. So I get a lot of help, but it's not hard, it's boring, and you just have to stay consistent.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah.
Over here, you mentioned kind of a part of the benefit of having one and the money, it gives you kind of a little more peace of mind, and then you can also have things in your camp that maybe you wouldn't be able to afford before.
Yeah.
Does it make you more dangerous this time around, you think, because you have one, and now you can have more resources at your disposal?
I believe so too. I believe so, like partly because of those reasons, but more so because in kickboxing and Muay Thai, I had, I believe, 90 fights. My record was around 85-5, something like that. I became a 4-time world champion. I knew what I needed to do when I stepped in there to find a way to win. Even though the fight is not going that way, okay, I need to try to do this. And that's what I feel like I started to get last season. So having that now, like the confidence and in my ability and in my preparation, I believe that it's gonna make me more dangerous.
Good. Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Corey, I guess back again, right? I mean, is it what's the feeling? Is it like a fresh start each time, or do you carry the weight of the last results, or what does it feel like?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just happy to have a fight. I was kind of struggling to find a fight, so this popped up, and we'll take it. It's a good opportunity. It's just kind of a weird relationship, because they can't decide whether they love me or hate me. Cut me, bring me back. Cut me, bring me back. It's kind of like a toxic ex, They'll break up with me, and then like a few weeks later, just hit me with a random text like, "Hey, what's going on?"
What's it been like for you? Because it is weird. Like it's been the most weird journey for you, right? These starts and stops and brushes. I mean, has it been easy to stay motivated and consistent, or has it been a challenge?
It's been frustrating, I would say, is kind of the best word to sum it up. But at the end of the day, regardless of all the tournament and everything, like I'm a professional fighter, and so I want to fight. So regardless of if I'm in the tournament or not, like I'm just happy to have a fight. Happy to have a fight and get decent money for it.
You kind of joked about it, right? But I mean, do you come in also with like a chip on your shoulder, like I want to prove to these son of bitches I should have been here all along? Or
I mean, yeah, I guess a little bit. Like, yeah, anytime someone kind of treats you like that, you want to prove them wrong and be like, "Hey, you messed up. You made a mistake," and I want to show that to them. But I mean, it's not like I really need extra motivation because it's a fight. I got some dude over there who's been training for however long, 6-8 weeks or whatever, specifically to beat me up, and that's generally all the motivation I need. It's just I don't like getting beat up. It's not fun, so I like to avoid it.
Nice. You get a chance to fight here in Vegas. Is that fun for you, or do you kind of enjoy traveling or doing it elsewhere?
The travel, it's kind of cool, but it's also just adds like more stress and more, I don't know, more difficulties to the process, I guess. I'm a creature of habit, so I don't like my routines being messed up, and it's been quite a few years, I think, probably like seven years, I think now, since I fought locally, so it's a nice change to be able to sleep in my own bed and, not break my routines and just kind of keep everything as normal, and it makes it a little bit easier.
What do you think of the matchup you got here with Impa? I mean, have you been following his career, or is somebody you paid attention to?
Not particularly. I mean, he got famous for being on the wrong end of a highlight, which, I mean, whatever, it happens. It's not like he's a bad fighter because of that. Like, that's just kind of I don't want to say like a freak or lucky knockout, but it's kind of it was a weird happening, and whatever. I'm not thinking that he's not a good fighter because of that, because I watched him. He is a good fighter. He's got a lot of good qualities. Can't say I've followed his career or anything, but I was aware of who he was because of that, and then I got the matchup, so I obviously went back and watched his fights and stuff. And he's tough. He's a good, skilled fighter. Stays real composed, and he's got some good attributes. So it'll be a tough fight. I'm not thinking it's easy because I've seen him get knocked out before, or because he's coming up in weight. It's still a tough fight.
All right, so last thing for me, what would it mean for you to win this tournament? I mean, you know, all the experience you had, the starts and stops, the weird relationship. I mean, what would it mean for you to win this thing?
To win the tournament, well, I gotta be in it before I can like win it. Like right now, I just have a one-off fight, so I'm not even involved, and that's not really on my mind at the moment. Like, obviously, I don't know if they have a designated alternate. Like I was in that position last year, so I would assume they do. But if they don't, then they're probably looking at me and Impa as
Yeah,
that.
to be honest, I thought it was an alternate fight, so it's not just
No,
a one.
no, just completely no strings attached, one-off fight. At least on my end, maybe they told him that he's the alternate. I don't know. But obviously, like it's a possibility of someone falls out. I would assume that my fight with him is the one that they're going to look at to pull someone into, unless there's another fight I'm not aware of. But yeah, so I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but it's not really in my mind because I'm not worried about it. It's just I got a fight in front of me, and that's what I'm focused on.
Corey, you've been getting some work in with Mr. Strickland. How has that been?
It's always good. Strickland has whatever reputation he has, people have their opinions on him. And, I've trained with him for, I'm not sure how long, but a few years now. Like, he's been one of my best training partners. He's definitely can be an asshole, but he's aware of that. And, overall, he's a good guy. Like, I know him, like, personally, and, like, I see how he can be an asshole and how some people would, like, be put off by him and things he does and says and stuff. But ultimately, he is a good guy, and he's a great training partner, great teammate. We'll say you kind of do have to know how to use him as a training partner because he, for the most part, he's gotten better as the years have gone on, but for the most part, he kind of has one speed. And, he doesn't like to drill or work technique or anything like that. It's just go live. So you kind of have to know how to use him. And, if I don't have a fight, I'll kind of limit my rounds with him because I'm not looking to fight someone every day if I don't have a fight. But in the lead up to a fight, and I want to get that fight feel, he's one of the guys that I absolutely want to go with because, I get the fight feel of it. It's a little bit different when someone's going 100% at you, trying to knock you out. And, it's good to kind of get used to that feeling a little bit and not have it be like something new that kind of just jolts you when you step into the cage for the actual fight.
Who have been some of your other training partners?
I mean, he's been one of my main ones the past few weeks, but Khalil Roundtree, I train a lot with. Yeah, I would say he's probably like my main one over at Syndicate, and then Jamal Pogues, he's injured from his fight, so I haven't been able to train with him. He's got a broken hand, but normally I train a lot with those two, and then I'll bounce around here and there and get work with other people, and I definitely, like I said, like to get rounds with Strickland leading up to a fight. It's always good work, and pushes the pace, really make sure your cardio's on point, and make sure you're not leaving any holes.
Awesome, thanks.
The Ultimate Fighter just wrapped up and it has a lot of veterans, guys going back into it that have been in the UFC, and then there's even some guys that actually won the Ultimate Fighter going back into it. I don't know if you saw them. What are your thoughts about like veterans going back in the Ultimate Fighter, and would you ever subject yourself to going through a crazy tough fighter season again?
So I mean, a lot of people I guess it's kind of mixed reactions about the Ultimate Fighter. People coming off the show. Some people love it, some people hate it. My experience was overall it was good. Other than like I got my neck injury and that put me in the worst pain I've ever experienced, and so that was miserable. But if I completely ignore the pain and just look at everything else, it wasn't bad. Like I wasn't one of these people who had a family that they were leaving, so like it was a bit easier for me, I guess. But ultimately, it's like 5 weeks and whatever. Like be an adult, you can just not see someone for 5 weeks. You'll be okay. I guess it's probably different if you have kids and a wife and stuff, but I don't know. Still, just be an adult. Like, you're fine. So I don't think it was that bad, and like I wouldn't if it was the best opportunity available to me at the time. Yeah, sure, I got no problem with it. It was cool. It was kind of fun. Meet some new people. It's really interesting, unique experience. It's I guess that's the best word for it. It's unique. It's unlike anything that you'll do anywhere else in life, and most people will never do anything even close to that. So it's kind of cool just to get the experience. So I'd be open to it, but it's always about like what opportunities are available to me. Like if I have something better than that, then no. But if that's like the best thing available to me, and then yeah, sure. I'd be down.
Well, it's funny because a lot of the veterans, as opposed to the prospects that are going in, the veterans have the experience. They seem to be a little bit more mature. Then there's the prospects that are loud, supposedly like dirty and all of that kind of stuff. If you went back in, what side would you be on? Would you still be the loud, fun type, or do you think you'd be more mature, sitting back, looking at the prospects like, man, these kids are crazy?
I mean, I'm not generally like a loud person, like just in my life in general. So I wouldn't really be that. I don't know. I just be me. Just whatever that is, I'd be me. And I mean, just stay focused on the task at hand. Like, you know, some people, it seems like, get caught up in the fact that, you know, they're on a reality TV show, they got all these cameras on them and all that stuff, and so they try and, like, I don't know, play things up and, like, you know, I don't know, just make themselves, I don't know, amplify everything and try and make themselves bigger and whatever, just gain an audience and fans and stuff. And I get it, like, it's part of the game, you know, you gotta, like, build a fan base, gets you more money, better fights, all that stuff, but I don't know, I just have a tough time myself playing into that. I don't know, I'm not a fan of fake people, and I don't like being fake, and honestly, I'm just too lazy to pretend to be someone that I'm not. So I generally am just myself, and I don't know, if you like it, cool. If not, whatever.
Good. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
No problem.